Hey everyone, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil, and it's time to talk House of the Dragon. Yes, Game of Thrones is back in a way. This is the prequel that we've heard a bunch about. We're excited to check it out, but I'm curious how many people are going to be curious to check this out. We all know Game of Thrones didn't exactly stick its landing, and yet it's the last show I feel that was like a proper water cooler show. It was must-see viewing. So many people were talking about it. You had to check it out every weekend and talk about it at work. Not on Monday. It was just one of those shows that captured the public consciousness for a few years, and we just don't get shows like that very often anymore. So let's see if this new one might just be able to recapture some of that magic. It's a tall order to fill for any show. It's even a taller order to fill for a show that's got baggage of a sort because of the way Game of Thrones ended. That being said, I'm a huge Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire fan. I have a House Stark chair for freak's sakes, but I'm one of those annoying people that actually read the books before the show started, but I wasn't a lifelong fan. In fact, I got turned on to them by a really good friend of mine, and she said, she spent a year or two trying to get me to start reading them, and finally gifted me with some of her extra copies for Christmas one year, and that's what prompted me to start. And I devoured the first 4 volumes, which was all that was out at the time, in the matter of maybe a month. Fell in love with the story, loved the world. The characters were so great, and the storytelling was unique because every chapter was from a different character's perspective. I really liked that narration device. I bought the 5th book the day it came out in stores and devoured it. Still waiting for the 6th and 7th books. We may never get them, but but we've got the story. Now, whether George R.R. Martin ever does come out with those books or not, whether he follows the narrative laid down by the TV series, or whether he goes in his own direction, who knows? But George has done enough world building in Westeros and beyond that there's a lot more story to tell. And while I've read all the Song of Ice and Fire books, I haven't read anything else set in this world. So I'm really not super familiar with the history, the time of dragons, which I think is where we're going. I think we're going at least a couple of 100 years prior to the events of the War of the Five Kings. And obviously this show, House of the Dragon, is going to be focused on the Targaryens. There's going to be an awful lot of platinum blonde in this show. But I don't know whether we're going back to the era of High Valyria, which was the Targaryen Empire on Essos, the other continent, that was ultimately destroyed by volcanic eruption, or whether we're looking at the time frame of the Targaryens arriving on Westeros or something else. I know from the trailers, I think we've seen the Iron Throne, so I'm imagining we're on Westeros, but trailers can be deceiving, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is all about. I don't know whether there's going to be any names we recognize, but there's going to be at least some family names, I'm assuming, that we'll recognize, some places that perhaps we'll recognize. But I also wonder whether this is all just about the Targaryens, or whether we're going to reach out into the farther world of Westeros, whether we're going to be dealing with Northmen or any of the other families that we may know well. Do we have the Starks? Were the Starks even ruling the North during this time? We'll find out all of these things, but it's such a rich world. There's so much potential for story, and I think if we get back into that politics of king-making and succession and all of these sorts of things, I think that could be a ton of fun. I have high hopes. I'm optimistic. I imagine that they haven't spared a penny on the budget, so it's going to look great no matter what. The production is going to feel epic and massive, cinematic, but ultimately it'll come down to The writing, the story, the performances, whether that stuff is what's captivating enough to generate the buzz and build an audience similar to the way Game of Thrones did, only time will tell. That being said, it looks like it's just about to turn 6 o'clock, which means here on the West Coast, the premiere episode is about to drop. I'm excited, but I'm going to have to refresh my screen until we're ready to go here. So let's get into it, guys. This is the premiere, the pilot of House of the Dragon. Any second now. Any second. Come on, man. Oh, this is killing me. It's supposed to be out at 6 and it's not out yet. 6:01 and it's not up. Come on, Crave. We don't get HBO Max in Canada. We get all our HBO through Crave, which is one of our streaming services. And this is not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah, I've just double checked online. It's supposed to drop at 6. It's now 6:04. Not cool, Crave. Not cool. I could watch Westworld or Canada's Drag Race. Flatbush Misdemeanors. There we go. House of the Dragon. Fire and Blood. Finally. Okay.
But only 2 were truly considered. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the king's eldest descendant, and her younger cousin, Prince Viserys Targaryen, the king's eldest male descendant.
It is declared by all lords paramount that Prince Viserys Targaryen be made Prince of Dragonstone.
So they took the younger male over the older woman.
The lords instead chose Viserys, my father.
Okay.
He knew the cold truth. The only thing that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself.
The infighting. I have a sense that's going to be a lot of what this show's about. Such a great logo, such an awesome emblem. So that's not 9 years after that. Okay, we're 172 years before Daenerys. So about 190 before Game of Thrones. And we're on a plane. Man, they're using the Game of Thrones music. Like modified, but it's still very much there. Alright. King's Landing, I'm assuming.
Welcome back, Princess. I trust your ride was pleasant.
Try not to look too relieved, sir.
I am relieved. Every time that golden beast brings you back unspoiled, saves my head from a spike.
I believe I'm quite content as a spectator. Thank you.
Oh, are they... Seems like a high-risk job. Dragon stabler.
You know I don't like you to go flying while I'm in this condition.
You don't like me to go flying while you're in any condition. Your Grace.
Good morrow, Alicent.
Alicent and Rhaenyra.
You will lie in this bed soon enough, Rhaenyra.
I'd rather serve as a knight and ride to battle in glory.
Alright, so she's the Arya.
I would urge that you not allow this triarchy much latitude in the stepstones, Your Grace.
The Crown has heard your report, Lord Corlys, and takes it under advisement.
So the Hand isn't a Targaryen, as far as I can tell. I'm just judging based on hair color, really.
The tourney will take the better part of a week. Before the games are over, my son will be born, and the whole realm will celebrate.
So is she the only child? All the swords around.
Sparo trivo se gauma kepus.
No oso dime, que poi ua uno sud kotion tradilas rota.
Kotio terranno sit isa.
Exie ultratan. Ua mono tresi sico si agevo. Ergotis berium.
Na se pavron qui jalina.
Is he assuming she's going to end up being his wife? I mean, there's a lot of... It's an incestual family.
You want him to have a son? I want to fly with you on Dragonback, see the great wonders across the narrow sea, and eat only cake.
I'm being serious.
I never just about cake.
It's a small cut from sitting the throne. It's nothing.
Whatever it is, it needs to be kept quiet.
Might I suggest cauterization?
He's a Targaryen. He should be able to handle cauterization, no problem.
I wouldn't be surprised if I hatched an actual dragon.
And he will be loved and cherished.
You do understand that nothing will cause the babe to grow a cock if it does not already possess one.
These seem like the very sane Targaryens.
Last time, Viserys. I know it is my duty to provide you an heir. And I'm sorry if I have failed you in that I am. But I've mourned all the dead children I can.
So he is the brother.
My brother's city has fallen into squalor. Beginning tonight, King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold.
It's literally sending them off to war in a city. This is not police work. Jeez. They're just randomly beating people? Is this literally just... Is there any rhyme or reason to any of this? It looks completely random. It's a badass helmet, though. Dragon helmet. Wow, we just did that. Jeez. Well, we definitely don't want this guy to become king.
Our city should be safe for all its people.
I agree. I just hope you don't have to maim half of my city to achieve this.
Time will tell.
If only the prince would show the same devotion to his lady wife as he does his work, your grace.
Well, I'd gladly give Lady Rhea to you, Lord Hightower, if you're in want of a woman to warm your bed. Your own lady wife passed recently. Did she not?
Okay, he's a Hightower. Oh yeah, there's sex in these shows.
What troubles you, my prince? You are Daemon Targaryen, rider of Caraxes, widow of dark sister. The king cannot replace you.
Ow.
I would humbly ask for the favor of the queen who never was.
Oh, the queen that never was.
Lord Stokeworth's daughter is promised to that young Tarly squire.
Lord Massey's son?
They're to be married as soon as he wins his knighthood.
Best get on with it.
So much like gossip and names, and it's all new. Lots to absorb. They both fall?
What do you know about this Sir Kristen Cole, Sir?
I'm told Sir Kristen is common-born son of Lord Dondarrion's steward, but other than that...
Did he say Dondarrion? Presumably an ancestor of Sir Beric Dondarrion? Oh, it's even a fancier helmet. It's got the wings on it now. Hightower? Yeah. Is that it? Is that the Hand's son? Are we gonna kill the son of the Hand right here? The Tarleys are from Old Town too, aren't they? Or is that just where the Maester College is? Oh, that's dirty frickin' cool. Going for the horse. That's super dirty. Okay, the horse isn't still. Dirty pool. What news? What news? That's not good.
She's fighting with all her might, but it may not be enough.
Oh! Oh my god! Is that...
And the day grows ugly. These nights are as green as summer grass. None have known real war. It's a marvel that war didn't break out at first blood.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They showed that! Holy jeez. Have we upped the violence factor?
It sometimes becomes necessary for the father to make an impossible choice.
Between mother and child.
To sacrifice one, or to lose them both.
You can save the child.
And he's convinced it's a boy, but oh my god. So what was all that axe fighting and stuff about? That's just what happens when one guy gets knocked off? I thought this was jousting. What happened?
They're going to bring the babe out now.
She's all doped up.
Oh, what is happening? Are you serious?
This is...
What are you doing? No!
I'm making the first incision.
My god. Oh! Oh my gosh. Oh, he got knocked down.
Sword! Prince Daemon Targaryen wishes to continue.
Oh, okay, so once they're down, they can continue to fight. Oh, this guy's got a mace even. Oh boy. Okay, this guy's a badass. Not Daemon, but the other guy. But I'm thinking Daemon's gonna get him. I can't believe they're showing this much of an involuntary, unanesthetized C-section. That's almost certainly going to be fatal for the mother. Is the baby even going to be alive?
Yield. Yield.
Okay, he's yielded. Now that the fight's over, he's going to kill the guy. Maybe. I don't know. She's dead. And I'm going to guess it wasn't a boy.
I was hoping to ask for the princess's favor.
Oh, she locked, Sir Kristen.
Princess?
Sir Kristen of Dorne. Okay.
Congratulations, Your Grace. You have a son.
Oh.
A new heir, Your Grace.
Oh no. Oh no. Did they ignite it with dragon fire? Dracarys.
Dracarys!
The succession is already set. By precedent and by law.
Shall we say his name?
Daemon.
Daemon Targaryen.
No one here can know what Daemon would do were he king, but no one can doubt his ambition.
What are you saying? My brother would murder me. Take my crown.
Daemon has ambition, yes, but not for the throne. He lacks the patience for it.
Well, who else would have a claim?
The king's firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. If order and stability so concerns this council, then perhaps we shouldn't break 100 years of it by naming a girl heir.
How's Rhaenyra?
So she's the daughter of the Hand. Okay.
How is his grace?
Very low. Which is why I sent for you. I thought you might go to him, offer him comfort.
What?
He'll be glad of a visitor.
Is he suggesting more than that, or is he just suggesting...
He might wear one of your mother's dresses.
Yeah. He's pimping his daughter to his king, basically. I think.
I thought I might come and look in on you, Your Grace. I brought a book. When my mother died, all I wanted was for someone to say that they were sorry for what happened to me. I'm very sorry, Your Grace.
She's his favorite.
The King is Solaire once again.
Your prince will speak!
have a report I feel compelled to share.
Did you say it? The heir for a day. Did you say it?
We must all mourn in our own way, Your Grace.
You chose to celebrate your own rise! Laughing with your whores and your leg spittles!
I've only ever spoken the truth. I see Otto Hightower for what he is.
An unwavering and loyal hand.
A cunt! He doesn't protect you. I would.
From what?
Yourself.
I have decided to name a new heir.
I'm your heir.
Not anymore.
Is the throne poisoned? Is that why his wound on his back isn't healing?
Aye. Corlys Velaryon. Promised to be faithful to King Viserys and his named heir, the Princess Rhaenyra.
I pledge fealty to them, and shall defend them against all enemies in good faith and without deceit.
There's something else that I need to tell you. Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men. Just to begin with a terrible winter.
I, Rickon Stark, Lord of Winterfell.
Aegon saw absolute darkness rising
Rickon.
from those winds, and whatever dwells within will destroy the world of the living. And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne. A king or queen, strong enough to unite the realm against the cold and the dark.
So we're tying this into...
Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. We're tying it into all of that.
The secret.
It's Arya's
now you
blade.
must promise to carry it and protect it.
I, Viserys Targaryen, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm, do hereby name Rhaenyra Targaryen, Princess of Dragonstone, and heir to the Iron Throne.
Okay. That went a lot more orderly than I was expecting. They put lyrics to it, but the music hasn't changed at all. So they've got Fire Unit. I missed the name of the first unit, I think. Fire Unit and Blood Unit, I'm assuming. Because they had Wolf Unit, Dragon Unit. Those are the two main units back on GOT. And I got a Spain and Portugal unit too. Oh. George R. R. Martin has his own little title card at the end there. Well, I had a good inkling that this, based on the trailer, that this story was ultimately going to be a war of succession, but it didn't start the way I anticipated, especially after the opening sequence where we learned that an elder daughter, well, an elder granddaughter, I suppose, of the existing king was denied the throne in favor of a younger grandson. So I thought if Rhaenyra was going to have a claim to the throne, she'd be fighting for it with maybe a small band of close allies. Instead, Viserys has named her heir, and presumably he doesn't have long to go, and it'll presumably have to do with this infection that won't heal on his back that he says he got from sitting on the Iron Throne itself. The fact that it does, I mean, it may just be infection. Let's face it, the state of medicine during this show isn't up to modern standards. Otherwise, a cesarean section wouldn't be a fatal decision. But this is the world we're dealing with. Matt Smith, Prince Daemon, is he's an interesting adversary. He's a relatively unappealing one so far, and yet you can't see Matt Smith in a role without seeing that twinkle in his eye, reminiscent of the Doctor. I actually even really liked his work on The Crown. I thought it was very sympathetic to the Duke of Edinburgh. But yeah, it's he's not a likable character yet. Maybe as we learn more about him, it'll be a more nuanced character. Obviously, there's a lot of heavy lifting to be done in a first episode of a new series like this, especially since people recognize a lot, and yet we don't recognize any of the people. We recognize the names of the houses. We recognize the places they may be from. It sounds familiar and yet unknown. And so we're rapidly trying to learn all these different names. Otto and his daughter Alicent and Viserys, and you don't know who's going to matter the most in 2 episodes. Who's going to live? Who's going to die? Do we need to keep track of that Dondarrion knight that won the joust? Who knows? Probably, but a lot was thrown at us in that first episode, and I apologize if I don't catch all the names immediately, but I'll be paying attention and I'll be taking notes, and I'm excited to learn a lot more about all these characters. I'm very curious about what surprises me, I suppose, is Rhaenyra doesn't seem to have ambition for the throne. She just wishes that her father had an heir so that she could be free to explore the world and have no cares, basically. She's a bit of a free spirit. She'd rather be a knight than a child bearer, which seems to be the duty of a future queen or future princess. So how will she handle this new responsibility thrust upon her by her father, and how much time will she have to prepare for the succession before her father passes and the world is thrust upon her? I thought it really interesting that Aegon passed on this prophecy, which clearly alludes to the Ice Walkers from Game of Thrones and that impending doom that was building for season upon season of Game of Thrones. Even showing us, I forget the proper name of it, but Arya ends up handling this, was it Cat's Paw? This dagger that ends up killing the Night King. But that was a prophecy passed down through the Targaryen line since the days of Aegon. And it was the responsibility of the Targaryen kings and or queens to pass that prophecy down the line. But the prophecy was that a Targaryen had to be on the Iron Throne for there to be a chance for this threat from the north to be dealt with. And Daenerys was on the throne briefly, but during that moment of victory, she was. Interesting that I thought we wouldn't be alluding to the future so much. I mean, that's one of the fun things about doing a prequel is you can ignore everything you know because it hasn't happened yet. It doesn't affect. It's not like having a history and something in the past that will constantly get referenced. But no, we're referencing the future, so that's interesting. In that opening crawl and in that prophecy, presumably as we learn more and more about this world and this time, that reliance on Game of Thrones will be reduced, but I get why you put it in there. You want to let casual viewers relate this to Game of Thrones. How does it tie in? So we've spelled it out. This is 172 years before Daenerys is born, and then we mentioned the prophecy at the end just to double down on that connection. But as much as we have people from other houses in the show, there's a Hightower as Hand of the King, and there was a guy in the middle on the other side of the council. I forget what house he was, but obviously he wasn't Targaryen either. But Corlys is the husband of, I didn't catch her name, but the woman who was passed over to inherit 10 years ago. But he serves on the council, and so does Daemon. Viserys looked out for Daemon because of their brotherhood. And yet everyone on the council's like, this guy can't be king. His ambition is dangerous. And there's something that's that we hear back in Game of Thrones during Song of Ice and Fire, which is all that Targaryens tend towards either greatness or madness. They're rarely meh, especially those who reign. So that's what we're seeing. Daemon is leaning towards madness. We don't really know about Rhaenyra, but she's got a struggle on her hands because no woman has ever sat upon the Iron Throne. You know, it feels appropriate, even in today's age, unfortunately, that sort of question is a question at all. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how they handle it here. I think the show looks great. There's a bit of an uncanny valley with these big, wide scoping shots with the dragons and the cityscapes and stuffing. Like you know it's not real, but it also just feels a little bit. It may just be a matter of the speed of my internet, you know. But I noticed that it didn't seem super high notch. Nevertheless, it's nothing that will that bumps me out of watching the experience. I was just hoping for an even higher level of visual effects. But like I said, sometimes that's a matter of the streaming service, of the internet during that day, and I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And it certainly isn't bumping me. Anyway, I'm encouraged and I'm intrigued by the story. I would have thought more would actually happen in this episode. It felt more like a table setting episode than an event episode. The only real event being the death of the queen and the death of the newborn prince, the newborn heir for a day. And so I would have thought we would have had the death of the king in this episode, but maybe that's not the story. Maybe there's more to this than that. Maybe I'm entering with the wrong expectations of what the story is. That's always the danger about watching a trailer, is you go, oh, it's going to be about this and it's going to be about that, so you can imagine what the first episode's going to be, and when it doesn't meet your expectations, then you might feel like it didn't deliver. But maybe that's just poor trailer design. I don't know. Anyway, I like having a show like this back, and I'm certainly going to give it a shot. I'm going to be watching it every week. I'll be getting my reactions out as quickly as I can. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this first episode, where you think the show may be going. I love these live watch-alongs because none of us know. We're all in the same boat, which is pretty darn cool. Anyway, yeah, leave your thoughts and comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you all here next week. Until then, everybody, take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.